a plumber's peaceful night interrupted. Jeff dragged himself through the front door, the weight of his tool bag a dull ache in his shoulder. He kicked off his boots, the scent of chlorine and mildew clinging to them, a lingering reminder of the day's job at the community pool. All he wanted was a microwave dinner and an hour of mindless television before collapsing into bed. He'd earned it. Just as he'd wrestled free of his work shirt, a frantic pounding vibrated through the apartment. It was followed by a shrill, panicked voice. "Jeff! Jeff, please, open up. It's Mrs. Gable." He groaned, pulling the shirt back on. Mrs. Gable, bless her heart, was a whirlwind of anxieties. He braced himself as he unlatched the door. "Jeff, thank heavens you're home." Mrs. Gable wrung her hands, her eyes wide and darting. "It's Lily's birthday party, and the toilet overflowed. It's everywhere. The girls are screaming, the cake is melting, and I don't know what to do." Jeff's stomach sank. A dozen preteen girls and a plumbing disaster. It was his worst nightmare, amplified. "Mrs. Gable, I just got in, please, Jeff. You're the only one who can help. It's Lily's 10th birthday. Please, please save the party." Her voice cracked, tears welling. He sighed. He couldn't say no to tears, especially not Mrs. Gable's. And the thought of a flooded house. All right. Let me grab my plunger." He grabbed his toolbox, its metallic clang a counterpoint to Mrs. Gable's relieved sobbing. "Lead the way." Birthday party plumbing disaster. Jeff wrestled his ancient Civic into the last available parking spot, a half-block from Lily's house. He clutched the toolbox, its weight a familiar comfort against his clammy palm. The street was already pulsing with music and laughter, a stark contrast to the quiet solitude he usually sought. He pushed open Lily's gate and the scene that assaulted him was pure chaos. Water arced from a geyser erupting near the patio, soaking shrieking children and sending paper lanterns into soggy spirals. The air smelled of chlorine and damp cake. Lily, her usually vibrant face streaked with mascara, was frantically trying to herd guests away from the spray. "Jeff! Thank God you're here," she cried, spotting him. Her voice was tight with panic. "The pipe, it just exploded." He followed her gaze to the source of the mayhem. Water hammered against the patio stones, already forming a shallow pool. He knelt, shielding his eyes against the spray, and quickly assessed the damage. A burst elbow joint, probably old age. Fixable, but messy. Lily wrung her hands, gesturing towards a sodden table. "And look! The cake, it was supposed to be a surprise rainbow unicorn." Her voice cracked, and Jeff saw the glittery, rainbow-colored frosting dissolving into a sticky puddle. He awkwardly patted her shoulder. "I'll fix it, Lily. Just, give me a minute to shut off the water." The weight of the toolbox shifted in his grip, a promise of competence in the face of party pandemonium. Jeff to the rescue. Jeff, still clutching his toolbox, took in the spraying geyser and the shrieking girls with a surprising calm. Okay, he said, his voice surprisingly firm despite the tremor in his hands. "Everyone back. I need space." He pushed his way through the throng, the scent of cheap perfume and spilled punch assaulting his senses. He located the main shut-off valve in the basement, a rusted hulk near the ancient furnace. With a grunt, he wrenched it closed. The roaring waterfall choked to a sputtering halt, then silence descended, punctuated only by the drip, drip, drip from the fractured pipe. He knelt, toolbox open, assessing the damage. "Looks like a clean break," he muttered, more to himself than the semicircle of girls watching with bated breath. He selected a pipe cutter, its metal cold against his skin. The air hung thick with humidity and the faint coppery tang of the water. Methodically, he cleaned the pipe, applied flux, and began fitting a new coupling. The rhythmic scrape of the cutter, the hiss of the torch as he soldered the joint, each sound a testament to his focused expertise. He worked quickly, efficiently, his initial awkwardness replaced by the practiced movements of a craftsman. The girls watched, a silent audience, their earlier panic replaced with a hushed anticipation. The air felt charged, not just with the residual moisture, but with something else he couldn't quite place. He tightened the last bolt, a bead of sweat trickling down his temple. "All right," he announced, wiping his hands on a rag. "Let's test it." The music returns. The last twist of the wrench silenced the gushing roar. A drip, drip, drip remained, but it was a far cry from the indoor waterfall of moments ago. Jeff straightened, his back protesting the awkward angle he'd been hunched in. He wiped his brow with the back of his hand, leaving a smudge of grime. Then, a miraculous thing happened. The music swelled. A pop song, throbbing with bass, filled the house again. It was almost deafening after the silence. A collective sigh of relief swept through the crowd. The 12 girls, who had been a sea of anxious faces moments before, erupted in cheers. They surged toward him, a wave of floral dresses and glitter. "You fixed it," one shrieked, throwing her arms around him in a brief, startling hug. He stumbled back, caught off guard by the sudden contact. He could smell perfume, too sweet and cloying. Mrs. Gable bustled through the throng. "Oh, Jeff, you're a lifesaver. I don't know what we would have done without you." She wrung his hands, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Truly, thank you. Please, come and enjoy the party. Anything you want is yours." Jeff, still reeling, mumbled, "It was nothing, really." He glanced at the girls, a kaleidoscope of bright smiles, then back at his work boots, coated in mud and pipe residue. The music pulsed, each beat a hammer blow to his already throbbing head. He wanted nothing more than to retreat to the quiet sanctuary of his apartment, but Mrs. Gable's grateful smile and the expectant gazes of the girls held him captive. He shifted uncomfortably, a trapped animal in a floral-scented cage. A slice of gratitude. Lily, balancing a paper plate piled high with chocolate cake, approached Jeff, who was awkwardly leaning against Mrs. Davison's rose trellis, nursing a lukewarm soda. The scent of roses couldn't quite mask the lingering chlorine smell from the pool he'd rescued. "Jeff," she chirped, her smile bright enough to rival the porch lights. We wanted to thank you properly." She held out the cake. "First slice goes to the hero." Jeff flushed crimson, shoving his hands deep into his pockets. "It was nothing, really. Just a burst pipe." The cake looked enormous, the frosting gleaming under the artificial light. One by one, the other girls followed Lily's lead. Chloe offered a sliver of lemon poppy seed, apologizing for the slightly melted frosting. Maya presented a wedge of red velvet, her eyes sparkling. Soon, Jeff was surrounded by a semicircle of girls, each bearing a piece of cake like a tribute. The air filled with the sweet aroma of vanilla, chocolate, and berries. "Seriously, you saved the party," gushed Olivia, offering a bite of carrot cake on a fork. "And my mom would have killed me if the pool had overflowed." Jeff felt a lump forming in his throat. He stammered, I don't know what to say." He glanced at the mountain of cake accumulating on his plate. It was a sugary Everest. 12 slices. 12 sets of eyes, all fixed on him with genuine warmth. It was more attention than he'd received in his entire life. He took a tentative bite of Lily's chocolate cake. It was divine. The "Thank You Jeff" club is born. "We have to do something," Lily declared, swirling the remaining ice in her soda. The glow stick scattered across the lawn pulsed with dying light, a testament to the party Jeff had saved. He missed out on everything, fixing the pipe. "It's not fair." A chorus of murmurs rippled through the group. "But what?" someone asked. Lily's eyes sparkled. "I have an idea. A "Thank You Jeff" club." Excitement crackled in the air. Brainstorming began immediately, ideas tumbling over each other like water over rocks. They imagined baking him a cake chocolate, his favorite, they'd overheard him mention once, organizing a movie night in his honor, even offering to weed his notoriously overgrown garden. Later that week, Lily, armed with construction paper and glitter glue, led the charge in crafting a giant thank you card. Each girl contributed a heartfelt message, decorated with lopsided hearts and enthusiastic doodles. Jeff, catching them huddled around the kitchen table, looked bewildered. He shifted uncomfortably, his usual quiet demeanor amplified by the collective attention. Lily, beaming, presented him with the card. "For you, Jeff. From all of us." He took it gingerly, his cheeks flushing a slow, steady crimson. He mumbled a barely audible, "Thanks," his gaze fixed on a particularly sparkly unicorn sticker adorning the front. The card felt enormous in his hands, the weight of their gratitude palpable. He retreated back inside his house, the door closing softly behind him, leaving the girls buzzing with anticipation. They had no idea what he would do with the card, but they knew, somehow, that their message had been received. Picnics and movie nights. The first picnic felt like walking a tightrope over a chasm of social anxiety. Jeff clutched a Tupperware container filled with slightly burnt brownies, the aroma doing little to soothe his nerves. Lily, radiating sunshine in a yellow sundress, greeted him with an enthusiastic hug. "Jeff! You made it. And you brought brownies? You're the best." He mumbled a greeting, acutely aware of the 12 pairs of eyes fixed on him. The park buzzed with life, children squealing on swings, frisbees arcing through the air, but Jeff felt strangely isolated until Lily pulled him into a conversation about the best way to grill corn on the cob. He found himself offering advice, surprising even himself with his newfound confidence. Movie night was at Lily's house. The air smelled of popcorn and Lily's signature lavender candles. Jeff sat on the floor, awkwardly positioned between two giggling girls during a showing of some old comedy. At first, he felt stiff and uncomfortable, but as the movie progressed, the shared laughter became infectious. He found himself making a joke about the ridiculous plot, and the girls erupted in laughter. One of them playfully shoved him. It was a light touch, but it sent a jolt through him. Later, while helping Lily clean up, Jeff caught her eye. She smiled, a genuine, warm smile that melted away a layer of his introversion. "You know," she said, stacking pizza boxes, "we really are grateful, Jeff. For everything." He felt a warmth spread through him, a feeling he hadn't experienced in a long time. Maybe, just maybe, he was starting to enjoy this. Jeff's unexpected joy. Jeff tightened the last bolt, the wrench clicking softly in the quiet apartment. He leaned back, a crick in his neck protesting. 3 weeks. 3 weeks since the torrent of gratitude, the blush of a dozen smiles, the whole unbelievable situation. He'd gone from solitary suppers of reheated leftovers to this. He glanced at the schedule taped to his toolbox. Tonight was movie night at Clara's. Popcorn, apparently. He used to dread the relentless string of emergency calls, the way they bled into his evenings, isolating him further. Now, he found himself almost eager for them, a subconscious part of him hoping a burst pipe might somehow lead him back into their orbit. Ridiculous, he knew. Plumbers didn't find love, or whatever this was, amidst leaking faucets. Yet, he couldn't deny the subtle shift within him. The knot of anxiety that usually resided in his stomach had loosened. He actually found himself humming along to the radio in the truck. He even bought a new shirt, ditching his usual uniform for something less functional. The thought of Clara's movie selection, vintage horror, he suspected, given her penchant for the macabre, brought a small smile to his face. He imagined the tangle of limbs on the oversized couch, the shared blankets, the whispered jokes during jump scares. He was still awkward, still unsure of himself in the swirling energy of their collective attention, but something had changed. He wasn't just fixing pipes anymore. He was connected. And for the first time in a long time, Jeff McMillan didn't feel quite so alone. He glanced at the clock. Time to trade the wrench for a remote. The Accidental Hero. Jeff whistled a tuneless melody as he walked down the school hallway, anticipation bubbling in his chest. Movie night at Clara's. Who would have thought? He felt less like the perpetually overlooked plumber and more, well, more seen. Jeff. Just the man. Lily Chen practically bounced in front of him, her bright eyes sparkling. Listen, I'm drowning in poster board and glitter glue. The History Club presentation on the Roaring Twenties is tomorrow, and the diorama is rebelling. He chuckled. Rebelling, huh? Sounds serious. Catastrophic, Lily declared dramatically, throwing her hands up. Unless a certain skilled individual could lend a hand. Maybe someone with, say, experience in fitting things together. An hour later, surrounded by miniature flapper dresses and tiny cardboard skyscrapers, Jeff found himself surprisingly engrossed. He helped Lily secure the wobbly buildings, adding a clever little plumbing system to represent the illegal speakeasies. Lily, in turn, regaled him with historical tidbits, her enthusiasm infectious. The next day, a folded note slipped into his hand as he walked past the History Club's display. Inside, a messy collection of signatures surrounded a simple message: "Thanks for saving the presentation. You're a lifesaver." The History Club. Jeff smiled, a genuine, heartwarming smile that reached his eyes. Saving parties was one thing, but saving presentations? He wasn't sure how it had happened, this accidental hero business. But it felt good. Maybe this town, these girls, weren't just a temporary escape. Maybe they were something more. Maybe he was something more.